Hello nerds, welcome back to Books with Rahini. Welcome back to another book review. Today I'll be reviewing Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Ngan. I think that's how you pronounce it, Natasha Ngan. I'm really not sure. I'm really bad when it comes to names. So this is actually a special edition that I received from Fairy Loot 2 years back. I think in their October 2017 box, if I'm not mistaken. That explains why it has these special sprayed edges. I actually picked up this book last year due to I picked up this book last year because it was so hyped up. So one of the most hyped book, I guess. So I wasn't that into the synopsis. So when I was flipping through, I read this special note, author's note for us. So she said that the story within these pages is a work of fiction but also a work of love. The world of Ikhara has been heavily inspired by growing up in Malaysia, a country with a dense mix of cultures, and also by my identity as a person of mixed ethnicity. That caught my attention, so I had to read it. I wanted to find out why this book was so hyped, and usually I don't do well when it comes to hype books. Another thing apart from the author's note that caught my attention was these gorgeous maps. Guys, I love when books involves maps. It's kind of interesting, you know. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick it up, I'm gonna read it. Before I give my thoughts on this novel, I'm gonna give a brief introduction about the author. So basically, Natasha Ngan is a sci-fi and fantasy young writer. She's currently living in UK. She was born in Malaysia, and she wrote 3 books in total. One was written back in 2013, The Elites. The second one would be this series, which is Girls of Paper and Fire. The second book is Girls of Storm and Shadow. The third book, I believe, will be released this year. They have not confirmed the title yet. Whoa, this year. I did not expect that. It seems that she's been jumping here and there. She was in France for a while, and now she's back in UK. And she basically wrote this book about what she went through. She had a little bit of her when she written this book, even though it was a fantasy. I think she put herself in the main character. Before I give my review, I'm going to read the synopsis. Lee is a member of the paper caste, the lowest and most persecuted class of people in Ikhara. 10 years ago, her mother was snatched by the royal guards, and her fate remains unknown. Now, the guards are back, and this time it's Lee they are after, the girl with the golden eyes whose rumored beauty has piqued the king's interest. Over weeks of training in the opulent but oppressive palace, Lee and 8 other girls learned the skills and charm that befit a king's consort. There, Lee does the unthinkable. She falls in love. You would never guess who she fell in love with. So her forbidden romance becomes enmeshed with an explosive plot that threatens her world's entire way of life, and Lee, still the wide-eyed country girl at heart, must decide how far she's willing to go for justice and revenge. I loved Girls of Paper and Fire because it has this female romance, which you don't get to see in most of the books. These books back there weren't much female romance. boys yes, but females is very rare. So I actually fell in love with that. This book, it was not too graphic, it was not too cliche, which made me wanting more and more from this book. Also, don't get me wrong, this book is not all about romance. It has trauma, it has a lot of darkness that actually infused, and which made the story a lot better. But I honestly fell in love because of the romance part of this novel. I was like very angry on behalf of the paper girls. I understand that they were the king's concubines. They were there to satisfy him sexually. Gross. But overall, it was written very well. I was actually kept on the edge. Basically, this book is about fighting the operation where girls support girls, working together when the girls coming together and defeat the enemy. The structure of this novel, it was written on the perspectives of the protagonist of this novel, Lee. The pace, it was very steady, but it began at such a slow pace. The story began very slow paced, which I didn't find troubling at all. I was okay with it. It still didn't make me put away this beautiful. I still kept on reading it. Natasha actually took her time to describe the characters vividly. It was clear. It wasn't rushed at all. There weren't any loopholes or whatsoever. The way she wrote this book was amazing. Not only the characters, the plays, I was able to imagine things. It wasn't hard to imagine some parts, yeah, but I can totally see where the story was going, how each world was described. And one fun thing I forgot to tell you guys was sorry, because I read this book was like last year. So this book, the character in this book basically divided into few casts. So they have like 3 casts in total. Paper caste, which is fully human, unadorned with any animal demon features and incapable of demon abilities such as flight. There's the second one, steel caste, humans endowed with partial animal demon qualities, both in physicality and abilities. The third one would be moon caste, fully demon with whole animal demon features such as horns, wings, or fur on a humanoid form, and complete demon capabilities. The character development in this book was done and written beautifully. We get to know the paper girls well, and we can see the changes they go throughout the book. The characters that I love the most in this book has to be Lee and Ngan, and I ship them so hard. Also, there are a lot of characters apart from Lee and Ngan. There's Aoki, and there are other characters that you will get to know if you read the book. I do not want to spoil more for you guys. Also, she did the thing that I hate the most. Cliffhanger. Yeah, she did that. Yes. There are a lot of themes that was included in this book. There was love, there was sacrifice, there was violence, sexual assault. There are a lot of themes that she included that was very much important for the plot development of this novel. Also, before I picked this up, I actually read a few reviews on Goodreads. There weren't a lot of good reviews. This book only contained like 3-point-something stars on Goodreads. A lot of them did not like the way that Natasha Ngan wrote the story. I personally loved it. Probably a lot of people didn't find interesting because of all those trigger warnings in the book. Probably because some of them found the book a bit slow pace. The last 100 pages was full of suspense and it kept you wanting more. I would give probably 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I am surprised why I haven't picked up the second one yet. Probably because I'm on a reading slump, as usual, what I face every year. I want the romance between Lee and Ren to be in depth. Probably I get to see more of them in the sequel, because there were some good times about them in the book, but I want more of them. So keep in mind that this book is not for everyone. This book has a lot of trigger warnings. They have sexual assault, animal deaths. They have a lot of things that normal books does not contain, and if you have read the author's note, you've already been warned. So please read this book at your own risk. That was my review on Girls of Paper and Fire. Have you read the second one? If yes, comment down below. Please tell me, what do you guys hate and love about this beautiful trilogy. Are you looking forward into reading the third one? That's it from me, you guys. See you next week with a new book review. Bye.